market yourself, you cannot run a successful business. So business is a failure. So all we did last week was how to start and grow an FM business. And that requires you to be able to package, register, package, identify customers, sell to them, get money, deliver their services, excel and grow. Now, if you now either you decide you're going to start a business later, you're not cut out for that at all, and you want to work as an employee, you need to also be able to learn, acquire the skills of the profession, package yourself, your CV and everything, front load into a company, targeted, get invited, present yourself well, get hired, and then move from level to level. If you have been in a job for 5 years, 6 years, some people 10 years, and you have not moved up in that job, then definitely there is a big problem, very big problem. And that problem is not with the company. It's never with the company. Many people say, oh, this place, there's so much politics, there's so much this. Some people will even tell you that it's difficult to get a job. It's difficult to get a job if you are not well connected. You have to know somebody or else nothing, you know. And some will tell you from there, it's either you can speak a certain language or you will not be recognized, no matter how hard you work and so on. I can tell you for free that while those things are, you can see that it happens for a few people. Less than 5% of people have those connections, know somebody, and whether you qualify, you don't qualify, you get less than 5%. The whole truth is that more than 95% of people get their job fair and square. More than 95% of people get their promotions fair and square. And one of the reasons is the fact that whoever is taking a decision to elevate somebody or to promote somebody has the interest of the job at heart. Even if the person wants to use some kind of pecuniary interest, for example, to uh, do something that are personal and not, following the standard, not picking out the best or whatever, they still have that interest that they want to succeed in their jobs. And so if you do very well, you will be recognized. In many instances, you may not even be recognized by the people you are doing so well for, like maybe doing so well for a first employer, doing so well for an organization that you are volunteering for, and so on and so forth. You may not necessarily be recognized and upgraded by them. But the mere fact that you have now honed the ability to do well, it has now become a part of you. You will be recognized by others, not within that space. Looks like I'll have to hold on. Just give me a minute, guys. Right. So we'll start with how to find the job. win the job, settle into the job. And then we'll now look into how to keep the job. And then we'll now move on to how to grow in the job. And some of the basic things that shows that you are a productive employee, we will bring them and highlight them in this session. I think we can all agree that we have a marketing tool in our CVs. We have a marketing tool in our CVs. Everybody prepares a CV that sells you, goes ahead of you, presents your case before an employer. That's where you start from. So before I start talking about some of the solutions to getting that right, the first thing I want to highlight is more than 80 to 85% of CVs currently circulating or currently being pushed out by people looking for work are pure garbage. And I will explain some of the reasons why they are garbage. Some CVs are too lengthy. You have 5 years experience. You have no business having a CV that's longer than 2 pages. All those 13, 12 pages of CVs where you've written your entire life history. It doesn't sell you, it demarkets you. That's one. Two, most people don't think about design when it comes to CV. They think CV is just to put in words. So they either model up too many words in a clumsy way, make it unreadable, or they just don't have proper control over tenses and grammar in their CV, shooting themselves in the feet. That's number two. Number three, some people chronicle in their CVs all the things they have been asked to do in their life. I was in this job, this is my job description. I was in that job, this is my job description. Nobody cares what you were asked to do. If an employer is interested in your job history, he wants to know about your achievement while on that job. So don't waste space listing out what was written in your CV. Focus on your achievements, 1 or 2 or 3 that is relevant to this position you are seeking. Number 4, many people write CVs that are one general CV. So if they are sending their CV to an oil and gas company, it is that same CV. If you are sending it to a manufacturing company, it is that same CV. You are sending it for procurement job, FM job, project management job, HSC job, is that same CV. CVs must be customized. So well in advance, once you have decided that I can work in administration, logistics, FM, real estate, let's assume those are the 4 areas you're interested in. Create standard templates of your CV version to those professions you are seeking. And then for everyone you want to send to a Unilever, different from the one you want to send to a Pfizer, different from the one you want to send to a Nimitz or a Cadbury, you now customize it again further. So you can have so many versions of your CV depending on what you are choosing. This is because of 2 things. One, employers want to seek out relevance. And 2, for those who are doing screening of CVs, because too many people apply for a role, they will use a keyword machine. The machine scans for certain words that are relevant to that industry and that job. And if they find certain minimum numbers of those keywords in your CV, they will shortlist you. So if somebody puts out a job description and your CV that you are submitting for that job description cannot mimic the wording of that job description, you will not be shortlisted. So you didn't get a chance at all to show yourself. Okay. What else can I pick out? Some people have CVs that do not have specific marketing words. The CVs are not trying to sell them. The CVs are trying to tell who they are. Companies don't really care who you are because they are seeking relevance and potential value for themselves. You must include specific marketing content in your CV. And I'm going to talk about this one by one. The first strategy for enriching your CV and including marketing content is what I call me in 30 seconds. This is an introduction of yourself. Now, this particular tool can be used to create your profile. You know that summary at the top of your CV. You normally have your name and your contacts at the top, and then you have that summary of who you are. Place it in that point that makes people want to read your CV. Research has shown that the typical recruiter scans a CV for not more than 10 seconds to decide which one to read and which one not to read. That 7 to 10 seconds is just enough to glean over one paragraph. And that one paragraph better be catchy, better hold me down, better make me curious to see what this person really about. And that's why you need to make that profile line out item very attractive. And basically follows a small an outline of the objective, your qualification, some traits, a commitment question. This is very key. It's like an elevator pitch. It's like I need to show who I am. I need this person to, hang on and listen to me and read. And this alone can make somebody shortlist your CV because you have customized this to the person's quest for relevance and value. Keep those two words in mind whenever you're putting together your CV. So look at the example I've given there. My name is AK Sonia. I want a job as a site facility manager in a mall. I have 3 years of site operations experience and a comprehensive FM training. My clients always rate me high on customer service. I'm a process-driven FM and my teams give me their best effort. Now, that last question there will not be relevant for a position that you already are applying to, which means it's already existing, right? So the commitment question will have to be different. But if you are pitching yourself for an opportunity to a company that has not advertised, you can use this for someone who is a VIP or a CEO and you want to get the person's attention and you think this person will need your skills and service and you package this 30 seconds of your presentation properly, they will most likely give you attention. The next important aspect of your CV is where you write your skills, knowledge, and abilities. KSA. Knowledge, skills, and abilities. Often, and this is what makes CVs really, really crappy, people just write a long list of values and virtues and all what's not. I am diligent, trustworthy, high integrity, expert communicator, proficient in this. Story. We call those cliches. You copy them from somewhere and you loaded them in there. Nobody reads them anymore. Shocking, right? Yeah, nobody reads them anymore. So when I say employers or recruiters are looking for relevance and value, listing all those values does not portray relevance. Two things must happen. One, you must identify a select few, what I call the key knowledge, skills, and abilities that this recruiter is looking for. To find that, read the job description, read about the company. If you are applying for an FM role, use Google Map and Google search and all kinds of search to search out the properties they have. How old? How big? How many people use them? Multi-talented? What types? You'll get a sense of what might be their challenges, the opportunities, and the value you can bring to them. For some people, they will even go on LinkedIn and look for people in similar roles in the company. Look for leaders who are hiring in those positions. Look at their profile, look at the things they've written out there, look at the articles they put, look at what they like. Just spend a day gleaning information and come down to a few values, knowledge, skills, abilities that can speak to this job that they have advertised. The reason that I want you to do that approach of finding more information about them is many recruiters nowadays, especially the HRO folks, when the hiring department has dumped their monkeys on them, you know how it is when the hiring department, an FM, head of FM, who is supposed to do a proper due diligence on the vacancy he wants to put out, sent an email to to the recruiter and says, please help me find a facility manager for our business, for our region in the north or something. Just give them one line request. Recruiter is not an FM. He goes online or use ChatGPT and comes up with a job description, generic. So if you use that job description alone to package yourself 100%, you might end up, not putting your best foot forward. Because once the chips are down, that person who didn't do the job diligence before, that should have written the real reason why they're looking for somebody to fill that role, and the kind of person that can fill that role, that did not do that and allow a recruiter to write all the gibberish that he finds online into the job description, is that same person that will say, oh, you're out of points, I can't hire him. They are making the decision, but that decision is now swayed off from what they published. So I'm going to balance that with the research I'm going to find. So I'll pick out certain values. And for each one that I say I have this skill, this knowledge, this ability, I need to demonstrate it, which means I must attach proof. So don't drop it there and say, I am a customer-focused facility manager. I move on to other things. No. That statement is struck out. It's not considered. So you use your power statement, which is made up of 4 key components. State the value, skill, or strength. Give a specific example or accomplishment. I am ABC. When I was DEF, I achieved XYZ. I must show the results. And then I'll add a comment, a line that connects. This is what makes somebody who was formerly doing logistics at the airport able to come into an FM role. He has created connection. When I was there, my customers had all kinds of issues. I was able to resolve those issues by applying that principles. I was able to cut down complaints by 40%. I was able to start increasing customer commendations. Somebody who knows that is his headache. The FMs here, they cannot come down to respect customer, to deliver customer service in a very humble way. When he sees that, if I have this guy, all my escalations will be gone. All of a sudden, all that FM body of knowledge skills that you have become subordinated So that ability to solve problems and be a friendly customer service agent. So put out your power statement to express every skill. So because you are going to now use a paragraph instead of a sentence or just a word to drop your skill, you don't really have space for too many. So you need to know what's relevant, where your strengths are, and then you present those. And creative and results oriented. Boom, number one, that's the value of skill. For example, at Max-Migold Limited, I created a new marketing plan and brochure that only increased monthly sales by 15%. Good example. Show the results, 15% increase in sales. Fantastic. I'm confident I can help to improve your company's sales in the same way. A match. Where are jobs being found nowadays? Uh, there seem to be a lot of jobs being posted online. And many people are getting jobs online on LinkedIn, job boards, and so on and so forth. A lot of people are getting jobs because they are referred, because somebody who worked with them, who knew them as classmates, who has encountered them in church or mosque, in social settings where they were meeting with some friends who had some friends who were. If you are in a profession, whether you are gainfully employed or you're not gainfully employed, let people around you know what you do. Over time, whenever they see such things happening, they think about you. And whenever they need the help, resource, support, opportunity for somebody in that profession, they will call you. So don't say because I'm not a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, people will not know what I do. You go to work every day, but what do you do at work? So that informal network is a very powerful source of jobs. Sometimes you had a chance to meet a certain customer, interact with colleagues, whether in a casual work setting or full-time employment in some companies. Present yourself well so that people will have positive memories about how good you are and how effective you are at the job you do. That will go with them to the point where if somebody says, hey, you are doing a good job, my friend needs somebody who can do the same job for him, your name will come to the mind of that person who is doing that job. So it's always important to not only be known, but also to be good so that you can be referred. If you get this right, you are most likely to be called up for an interview. And I always say this, if you didn't get shortlisted for a job interview that you were qualified for, then everything was wrong about your packaging. You should be shortlisted, at least for a start. So especially for those who have done the Mastercard Diploma in Nigeria and across the continent today, any employer that sees someone who has earned the Mastercard Diploma will always, always want to hear from you. But if you now send a wishy-washy CV, something that really does not represent what you have gone through in this program, even when they invite you out of, maybe this person just don't know how to write, maybe this person knows the job because he's been trained by Max-Migold, let's still call him, and you get there, they will be disappointed because what made you unable to clean up design, structure, and use all the things we have taught you in the program is mental laziness. And nobody wants to employ someone who will be overwhelmed or unable to implement simple correction or fixes or adopt certain processes to get things done. So you have crossed that hurdle. You have the qualifications, you have the experience, you're able to package a CV and a cover letter that showed that you are a likely prospect. Then during the interview, they now need you to open your mouth and speak. What is it going to sound like? There are so many interviewers that will go online and Google up questions they should ask and likely answers they should expect. And as that's how many people also go for interviews preparing with those kind of questions. But for me, I believe in two things. One, have a structured mindset to responses. Develop me in 30 seconds, power statements, how to turn negative to positive, uh, how to answer question with question that will be in a way politely, throw back the question to the person, especially the questions around how much do you want to earn, right? Sometimes you don't want to answer that question. You might want to find a way to rephrase it and ask a few questions before you give a comment. But in all, ensure that you are prepared mentally. You have, done some notes. You have rehearsed some questions with yourself, answering back in a mirror. Before the interview, study the employer. This is a key requirement. Study the employer and be prepared to ask good questions. Okay, it's very important to prepare yourself well with knowledge of the employer. Don't go there and not have, a good background about the organization. Then, on the day of the interview, have peace and calm as you go for interviews. Don't be agitated. Be polite and respectful. Be on time. One reason why you might not be able to have peace and calm is if you go late. If you rush into an interview, you'll be disorganized. If you have spent time understanding the organization, there will be a genuine concern for progress for the organization coming out of you. They will feel it. And then keep a cheerful countenance. You're not going there to laugh like a jester, but you're going to keep a smile, a mild appearance throughout. And then speak and act confidently. Confidently. If you speak, under your breath and people can struggle to answer, saying, speak up, for example. They are written you off. You're not shouting, but you can project your voice deliberately. You want them to hear. You want to exude confidence. In terms of grooming, no excesses. Don't overdo anything. Just being clean in everything. Uh, Trimmed, nails, clothes ironed. Just dress, dress, dress clean and fresh for the interview. Don't overdo it, especially that thing called perfume. Some people go to an interview, uh, the interviewers want to jump out the window. They want to jump out the window because of body odor. Sometimes because of perfumes that are so strong. Either way, don't. Fresh and clean. Looking professional. Looking professional, especially when it comes to dressing. Also, there's also this thing about the possibility of underdressing for your interview, being too casual for an environment where they are either semi-formal or fully formal. You coming for an interview for any job should be one notch above the everyday of the organization. So if they allow sweaters, for example, or t-shirts. Don't go in t-shirts and jeans. Go in shirts, preferably long sleeve shirts and trousers. If that is what they wear, semi formal shirts and trousers, then have a tie or a jacket or blazer. Just one step above uh, the typical day for that job or that profession. And then many employers will also have application forms. Some will have exams, tests, psychometric analysis, or whatever they want to use to gauge the understanding of who you are. One thing is account for the history you provide. If you're a woman who had to take out time to have some children and stay home to nurse them, for example, indicate it in your history. Okay, say I was a homemaker from this year to this year, and then I'm coming back to work, or I came back at so time. So there should be no gap that they should start wondering whether you were in prison for that period. Okay. Now you got the job. Hallelujah. Some people get the job, celebrate. Either they stay on the job forever in that same position, they did not grow, or they are kicked out very quickly. If you do not add value to an employer, the employer will keep you there for as long as they can accommodate the expense on you when they cannot see value. So when I talk about value and relevance, some people will wonder, what exactly is value to an employer? Number one, employers worship their customers. So if you can help to bring in customers and retain customers, super. You are bringing value. Employers value revenue growth. Very important. So if you can help the organization to generate revenue, sustain profitability, you are bringing value. Employers appreciate people who add process and structure to the organization. So what do you do here? You improve on yourself, you improve on the job, you solve problems, you create systems. That is value. If you are not adding any of these, you are not adding value. You can't be the one wasting money. When they say go and buy something that you could have bought for 1 million, you end up buying the 1.6 million. All of these things will tell when evaluations happen. Okay. So how do you grow? You're on the job now. You want to move, you want to be stable, you want to grow, you want to aspire to the next position. I'll talk about the next position, but at least be recognized as somebody who is adding value and doing well. Make contacts and build your network, communicate clearly with others, and show a good attitude and appearance. Work hard and prove value to a company by increasing revenue, saving costs, and having happy customers. But you can't stay in one position forever. In fact, if you desire to be in one position forever, there's a very high likelihood that you'll be kicked out. For two reasons. One, your customers' needs are evolving and changing. The company itself is evolving and changing. So whoever wants to stay in one spot doing one thing, refuse to evolve and change, will soon become obsolete and asked to go. Okay? So you must also be evolving and changing, and as such, you must be increasing, improving, developing yourself. But that is not enough. You must be ambitious to want to be someone of significant impact to the organization and to the community that you are in. So there must be something that motivates you to want to rise. Organizations appreciate people who want to rise because it means that they want to do more. It means that they want to be more. It means that they want to, create more for the organization. So the moment you get into the organization, don't just dig your head into the work and stop. No, no, no. Aspire to become better. Aspire to become somebody of relevance and significance to the organization. Of course, in your profession, um, with time. So write down the positions you want, not just one. Oh. I'm a officer now. I can become a supervisor. I can become a manager. I can become a director. I can become. This is your own personal journaling. This is not for public consumption. Possibly and preferably indicate when you should be in those positions. I want to be an expert this so that I can become this by so 2025. Now I'm in 2025, 2027. By 2029, I want to be this. By 2035, I want to be this. By the time I'm 40 or 50 or 60, I want to be director of blah, blah, blah. And that's the timeline I've created for myself. Now, creating this kind of timeline gives you consciousness, gives you something to wake up to every day, gives you something to aspire to. Too many people finished, entered university, studied what was provided for them. Oh, this course that you wanted is not available. This one is available. Let me just take it. I don't blame you, it's fine. But after taking it, you studied, you come out and say, I'm looking for work. You say, what did you study? Oh, I studied political science, I studied zoology, I studied economics, I studied mathematics, I studied, what you studied is really irrelevant. What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? What kind of job do you want to do? You should know it all along. So if you have drifted to the point where you are now at a job that you were offered, can you do this? We don't have anybody for that. And you say, okay, let me go and try that. There's nothing else for me to do. If that's how you got it, no problem. It's in your hand now, isn't it? It's in your hand now. You don't do it as if it is for the meantime. Very soon, pam, 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 I will arrive at my dream job. Doesn't work that way. If it's in your hand now, and this is what you have to do, you must grow in it. Because if you don't grow in it, over time you become useless to both sides. You'll be useless to the jobs you hope you should have that you did not have. You'll be useless to the one that you are holding now because you treated it like for the meantime, you did not grow in it. And as such, you are seen as unproductive. So that's something you don't want to happen to your career. I've seen people go through a degree in chemistry, get a job as a facility manager, and after 5, 6 years, goes back for a master's in chemistry. Like, why? Do you think somebody looking for a chemistry expert will employ you one day? No, they wouldn't, even with your master's in chemistry, because they want to hire someone who has experience in chemistry. So doing 5 years of FM job and going to do a master's in chemistry is a wasted career. You wasted it on both ends. So you're in FM, build your career and progress in FM. So the positions you want to take must be relevant, yes, to the experiences you're acquiring, and then you will need to close certain skill gaps to get to those opportunities you are looking for. So you identify what skills I will need, what knowledge I will need, qualifications I will acquire. I've had very many graduates of this program, alumni of this program, who took this thing to heart. They set up for themselves. After 2 years, I'll take on the FMP. And then I'll be looking like that. My supervisor I'm looking at now. After another 3 years, I would have added the NIBOSH certificates. Then I will be looking like our manager who has these two. Then I'll do an MBA. Then they set the goals. When setting those goals, your salary can just be 150, 200, doesn't matter. Even small money, but you set ambitious goals. There'll be no distraction. All those people that used to do initial deposit for land, they will not catch you. Their jobs will not hold you to start using your 150 salary to be deposited for land that you'll not finish paying for in 15 years. When you should have used the money to develop and train yourself so that one day you'll be earning 2 million, 3 million, so you can buy the land at once without initial deposit. You know how many people have lost initial deposit because of this distraction that we see everywhere? Of course, it's a good thing to have land, but for goodness sake, why would you start there? Your initial investment should be in your professional development. To be honest, from the first few years of finishing school, reinvest everything into yourself. I know how it is in Lagos where we scramble to get a car so that we can look the parts, we dress up and all that. But if you focus on building yourself, acquiring the skills and knowledge, you start closing those gaps. Because if you don't identify, if you, I want to be in that position, which I'm telling you must set now, the skills and knowledge that you need, which is the gap, how will you close those gaps? You must indicate them. And then what is the first step I should take? You must take it now. Don't also forget that technology is it's a game changer for every profession. So becoming aware of changing technology and software in the industry is very key. So all those time you spend on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and wherever I will spend the time digital these days, there is also solutions that you can stay tuned to. I've seen manufacturers who I want to be able to manufacture something. They will just go to YouTube and spend hours upon hours upon hours on just how it's made. That documentary on how different things are made throughout the world. They'll be watching and their horizon will be expanding. Their facility management, you've not searched any video on building components, system, new technology, software, and no, you've not. You just keep spending the time on comedy. There are things we can learn that can help us improve. All right, so I'm going to give us a little break, a 5 minutes break. I'll be right back. And what I have left on this course are about writing, presenting, and being able to communicate properly is so important because when you are in a job, any job, you will need to communicate. You will need to write reports. You will need to lead a team, train them. And if you don't present yourself properly, you don't know how to learn how to manage things like simple like grammar, how to put together a slide deck, how to put together a training material, you will look as if you are unprofessional. You started out your job trying to be a professional, from the standpoint of the profession, which is facility management. But then as you grow on the job, there's an expectation that you will move from shop floor operational to tactical to strategic level. And as your experience is mounting, you should also now gain more skills, right? And all of these will depend on whether you are given the opportunity to lead to manage more resources. These are the things that will go before you. This is what people will see for them to look. Let's say you write an application or you write a review, you write an appraisal. Somebody's looking at your appraisal and looking at all the wrong tenses and poor understanding of the grammar you were asked and things to respond to. Then, of course, you will not be considered. And you'll be wondering what just happened. So I'm going to spend some of the time just highlighting some key areas of writing, speaking, and the rest that helps you to sustain a job and grow on the job as you come back from the break. So someone should please put on the group that we are on the break for 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. Hello, does my audio come through clear? Do you hear me?
Welcome, sir.
All right, thank you. That confirms it.
Can hear you.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So when it comes to writing professionally, don't try to impress. Uh, if you don't put the readers first, you'll end up writing to put yourself first. So let communication be equal to understanding. Write to express, not impress. Use words the readers can picture. All right. And try to, put in what will be as simple as possible. Some of the examples I've provided in this content are, uh, you know, they may look elementary, but you will see a lot of patterns in our writing that we can correct. Imagine trying to say your balance is 25,000 naira. You write it as a conversation. I'm enclosing here with a remittance of 25K thousand naira for the balance due on my account. Here's 25,000 remaining on my account. Or here's my 25,000 naira balance, right? So just as simple as possible is better. Too many words will not only create confusion, but create ambiguities. Okay. Certain words can also be used together that tends to create, it sounds like you have a mastery of the language, but it's not. In the amount of, there are 4 words in the amount of, but you simply want to say for, FOR, basically, in order to, just to, due to the fact that 5 words, because it's a single word, right? In the event that simply is, during the time that, when, while, so these are just, some ideas that can help us to enrich the way we write to simplify them. Jargons, words that are specifically understood by a few people or certain people in the industry, minimize their use in your daily communication on the job. The active voice presents a speaker's opinion. The passive voice presents nobody's opinion. Okay. The construction crew repaired the road. It presents a doer. The road was repaired by the construction company. The speaker in this second case is not, putting an opinion out. He's just expressing something that is. Tests showed the new material did not wear well. When tests were run, it was discovered that good wear is not exhibited by the new material. There are so many examples we can use to express being active. An active person or an active communication presents, both parts of the communication as coming from the source. Then when you write, make the writing able to be readable. Don't write long paragraphs, half a page as a paragraph. Let a paragraph express a single idea and let there be outlines to create lists and different formats that can hold paragraphs. Even emphasizing certain sentences using bold is very important in your writing. So somebody can glance through, get a picture in a few seconds, come back to read it if it's something it needs to read, because you're able to organize those kind of blocks that give a view of what the person is supposed to read in your message. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to read up all of these ones. Lots more writing, structure, editing. Um, so let's talk about the office email. We use email to correspond most of the time at work. And the email serves as a formal way of communication. But because it's not framed with letterhead, with those rigid to and from boxes, we say it's informal and impersonal. Not everything should go into an email. Not every thought, not every expression should be done by email. A phone call or a face-to-face can be more effective to get some things done. But whatever needs to have some evidence that it was said needs to be by email. So this includes certain communications with third parties, certain communication within, within the organization that refers to policy and procedure related conversations. There needs to be an evidence that those conversations were had. Okay. It's important to edit. Nowadays, we have so many ways of editing. The email tools, Outlook, whichever you use, Google, they all have some editor that you can just click on to clean up the writing in your emails. And now with AI everywhere, I think we have overcome that problem. So try to ensure that you're always editing and correcting. Avoid anything that is off color, whether it's a red joke or a blue joke, or something that would sound unprintable or shouldn't be printed or saved. Don't forget that your email is permanently stored. Even if you stop working in the organization today, someone can still unearth all communication done within a server forever. So don't think this is going to be temporary. Even if you delete it, or both parties delete it from their boxes, it's still there at the back end. So that's an important information. When addressing an email, the tool feed is for those who should receive and respond. The CC, carbon copy team, not the direct recipient, but they are kept in the loop. This is informing you that myself and Mr. B are exchanging this communication and we want you to be involved. Now, those in the CC, once in a while, can interject. It's more like a conversation. You're telling me you're the communication between the two of you. But if I see, maybe I'm the boss, if I see something going wrong with that communication, I can jump in and say, hey, this, even though it's not directed at me. Then the BCC, blind carbon copy, is when you want to send to many recipients and you don't want all of them to be seeing each other's emails. So if you put them in the BCC, you only see, you basically, none of them will see the other person's email in the list of those receiving the email, right? So when you are sending internal emails within an organization, using BCC to get some people to be seeing what's going on, and you don't want the other parties to be aware that somebody is being copied. I don't think it's a very good political move. So it's better you use CC so everybody knows who else is copied in that message. If for any reason somebody you blind carbon copied now responds and everybody sees it, people start wondering how come he knows what we're talking about. Somebody has been copying you secretly, and that's not very nice. Okay, and then I talked about editors a while ago, but sometimes editors don't do all the job. They will see a word where the word spells correctly from the dictionary. The context might be missing and the word will be left to stay. you can read that sentence again and again and again as the writer, and you may not even pick that error. Okay, so you can give a complete different meaning with the same word. And some of the bandage was wound around the wound. Wound and wound there are spelled the same, but they actually are two different words with two different meanings, right? So a spell checker will not try to correct this because the word wound or wound spells correctly and it leaves it in your sentence. So we need to be conscious, okay? So many uh, common mistakes. I don't know about you, but there are certain words that I just can't spell correctly. I have to correct myself again and again. Um, it used to be receive and receipt for so many years. And all of a sudden, I realized that I'm correcting myself on because. Because should be AUS, isn't it? But I found myself writing UAS. And I have to correct myself again and again and again. Sometimes if you don't have that highlight that pops up to say this is, that when you spell it out and it turns red or something, it's highlighting it saying, yeah, I'm spelling of this word. If you have that kind of challenge with a word that is in the dictionary, let's assume the because I'm challenged with now, um, is there's a word that is UAS in the dictionary. My wrong spelling for because will stick, and no highlighter, no editor will pick it up for me. I'm just lucky now that they pick it up all the time because there's no word that spells like that. So be conscious of your words and spellings that might be accepted that are actually wrong. How to use punctuation, the colon used to mean note what follows, apostrophe, show belonging or indicate the omission of letters in a word, and semicolon used to link independent clauses to parts of the same sentence. Okay, this other part about how to edit uh, and how to put information together, I'm just going to allow you to read those up. I want to get to the next item I'll be highlighting in this session. And this exercise is about how difficult it is to spot a mistake when you are the one that writes it. It is very important. Sometimes a spelling or a word can just be wrong, and you'll be reading it as if it's correct. You can read it repeatedly as if it's correct. If you take this sentence, for example, you will find that you will be able to read it even without, even with it being every word is wrong. Let me show you that. According to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Virtually almost every word was misspelled, but because the first and last letter are in the correct position, I am able to read it. That's why it's so difficult sometimes to correct yourself. Sometimes you actually have to write and sleep on it, like go back the next day to open it again and then read it again. Okay, this is what I wanted to come to. We hold meetings, and sometimes meetings can become a drag in our organizations because it's not properly set up. Every time there's going to be a meeting, the schedule of the meeting, the date, the time, the location, how long the meeting will last, the purpose of the meeting are supposed to be communicated to all participants. and each person given what they should prepare for the meeting. Okay. So if you actually have a proper agenda for a meeting, you will not have any need for any other business. So if I send out an agenda and I think there will be need for all participants to contribute, what they may have in mind, in the sense any other business, I would ask for it upfront so that we get into the meeting and we hold a holistic meeting. Most times an AOB becomes an agenda only one or two persons are prepared with, and the rest people, every other person in the meeting are basically ambushed, forced to discuss something they did not have equal opportunity to review. And in some cases, AOBs can be brought in and a vote taken on an AOB. That is outright criminal. So when you write an agenda, rank the topics in descending order. So the important topics I discuss first. Items that are similar and related can be bundled together, and set the time for every conversation so that people are not just allowed to hijack and take over the meeting, because that is the biggest reason why meetings drag on and on and on. All that we should be allowed to express themselves freely. Don't restrain somebody's opinion. Don't challenge anybody in the meeting. It's all right, it's all nice to have, but if you are the one leading the meeting, please enforce a structure. If you want to speak on a topic, not more than 1 minute, go straight to the point, no unnecessary preambles. If you've spoken before on the same topic, allow others an opportunity to speak on that topic. People can just dominate a meeting and no one else can, can talk. I've been in a meeting where somebody spoke for 28 to 30 straight minutes, like conversation just went on and on and on and on and on. And this is just one contribution, almost 30 minutes. By the time he was done with his contribution, I was done with the meeting. I'd switched off. I've gone into something else. Even if I'm in the same room, there's no way you can maintain my interest in that meeting. The meeting is a wasted effort. If I am in a position where I can take an excuse and go and do some other thing, I'm gone, because the meeting will just drag on and on and on and on, with no control. So if you want to lead meetings that brings better results, please have some level of control as the one organizing the meeting. And this is very effective, when you're toolbox meetings, HSC meetings, operations meetings, all the meetings that you hold that you have control over, even the ones you don't have control over, where you are like an assistant or a secretary. It's very helpful to, create an agenda, share it out, put time for everything, define how long the meeting is going to last. Many people will be happy to accept an invite to a meeting if they know that the meeting is scheduled for a certain period, and they know that that meeting, whoever is leading it will insist or try as much as possible to make sure it works within that period. And then you have business cases that you have to write all the time to seek approval to do certain things, get some funding, and so on and so forth. It's important to have a structure. What is the problem opportunity? What are the problems you encountered, options considered, solutions recommended, costs, that will go into it, and so on. So just have that outline format. It makes it easy for management to see all the points and make a decision to fund the project or to approve it. I have a few more slides here on active and passive voice. It's important that we learn to improve on being active as much as possible. More on writing, reports, manuals, handbooks, proposals. These ones are more formal writing that we submit to management, that are used for presentations, that are used for training, and they have their own focus, whether you're presenting to external clients or presenting to internal employees or organization leaders. You need to have certain components built into it. These are things that common take proposals, for example. You don't want to just send a proposal about a solution you're offering to an organization without introducing your own company, right? Adding some information about where your experience as an organization is into the documentation as you put in the scope of services and deliverables for the clients. Okay, so that's our session for today. You want to find the right job, you need to package your documentation, write your CVs and cover letters properly. If you get shortlisted, you need to attend interviews, express yourself, show concern for the organization, get hired. If you're on a job, don't see that job as an end in itself, but as the beginning of a step that will lead to some greater end or greater ambition or a goal for you. And that goal must be stated clearly, and you must work towards achieving that. And so when you work from day to day and build on the bricks of your step, the ladder that's taking you to that ultimate goal of yours, it's a focused, intentional effort. That includes how you write, how you speak, how you plan, how you organize your teams that work with you. So that's our session for today on workplace productivity. I would like us to come on screen now and then have a quick conversation around questions and takeaways. Timothy, your hand is up. Go ahead. Amit.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, I really enjoyed the lecture for today. It was so educative. But my question is this, coming from a different field entirely, let's say you've had all the qualifications, but you lack the experience. How can you prepare a CV that you interest others to employ you?
Okay, good one. First thing, all the things you have done in your life before now, you have to find way to reward what they are in terms of the achievements you've had in those positions. Let's assume you were a driver before you came to take a training as a facility manager, right? So instead of saying I was a driver, you will say I was a protocol officer, or a logistics officer responsible for ensuring that the director of so and so arrived at all destinations on time. I was a resource manager. I ensured that fuel was managed, the vehicle was always maintained. I'm trying to become a facility manager here, but I was a driver before. There are ways I'll repackage that driving job to show that I have acquired some skills that I can use to become a facility manager if I get employed as a facility manager. Okay. So we call them transferable skills. You must be able to express what the transferable skills are.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Philomena, go ahead. And I'm Philo, go ahead. You're not muted, but we're not hearing anything from you if you're talking.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me now, please?
Yes, we hear you, ma'am.
Okay. I was just saying that I took out some good learning points from this lecture. But the area I want to ask questions around is on the office email. I used to see this BCC. I get to know now that it's blind copy,
Blind carbon copy,
and
yes.
that is a blind carbon copy. So my question around that is the people that you copied people in that other CC,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know that you have somebody you copied in the BCC. So
Mm-hmm.
that person you copied in the BCC, does that person usually see the CCC copied persons?
Yes. The person in the
Okay.
BCC sees the CCs and the two. It's only the other people in the BCC doesn't see.
That will not see. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's why I always recommend that you don't use the BCC because you can get into trouble with it. I use to share information to, let's say I'm inviting 200 people to an event and I want to send all of them one email instead of sending one by one, and I use BCC. That's because I don't want all 200 of them to see each other's emails. If I'm working with an organization where we are all a team, I expect to be able to expose, to the team who is seeing the email, not to be hiding that some people are being copied in the email. If for some political reason you strongly feel somebody else should know about the email, you can forward the information after the transaction. So I send an email normally. I want to inform someone, I say, for your information, this is a exchange we've had. That one is better than blank copying the person because the person can mistakenly reply and it becomes obvious that you were trying to secretly inform the person. Adiola.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for this powerful class. I'm able to deduce a lot of things in this class. And I also want to ask a question because when you were talking about when we apply for a job, we can try and know more about the company on LinkedIn, read about the employer and also some other staffs of the company. But my question is, there is a way LinkedIn work. The moment you check somebody's profile, it will alert the person that so and so view your profile. And this is a company you are trying to apply into. I want to see that. I want to ask that, is that not intruding of privacy, and can that or not
No,
create a future?
no, no. If you're applying to a job in my company and I see that you're checking my status and checking my profile, it will give me the feeling or the idea that you are doing your due diligence. In fact, if you want to take that a notch up, you can send me a message. I'm applying for a role in your organization, and I'm trying to get some insight that will help me prepare. What can you tell me about blah blah blah? A specific question. I can even respond to you. It shows that you are doing your homework. You are already ahead of other candidates if you do that on LinkedIn.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Allow me there.
Okay, I actually wanted to just share my experience. My present job. Um, well, I've been for interview in the organization before for another job role, but they said they were going to get back to me. I didn't hear from them. So the MD actually, I followed the MD on LinkedIn, and to my surprise, I think some months after the MD posted this position. So what I did was I just chatted him on LinkedIn to say, "Oh, I was in your organization some months ago for an interview and all that, and I've been expecting a call I didn't get. So that I would like to find out if I could still apply for this job." And he told me to send my CV, and so the rest is it.
My dear, as at that time you have left the queue. Yeah, have left the queue. All those that are applying for the job, you have been fast tracked to the front of the queue. So once you say bring your CV, the deal is done. So that's the network. Professional networking is very powerful when it comes to job placements. Okay, it shows that you care enough to do some due diligence. The problem we really have with job seekers is they're just throwing random CVs in every direction. There's no focused efforts to target a company and get a job in that company. Maybe I just having wish list, throwing it everywhere. If you are looking for a job today and you narrow down to 10 organizations and you really do your due diligence, within 30 days, you get called by those organizations, even if you didn't announce a vacancy. So it shows that you are taking your job search seriously, and companies respect that. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm happy that today it looks like we had a few more people in class. Just that people that are not having their videos on, I just hope that you are not, multitasking with this class. So many people have not turned their videos on today at all. So I can only pray that you are getting something out of what we are doing. Okay, thank you for coming on the screen. All right, so that's been our lesson. I look forward to the next class. It looks like I'll be the one teaching again next class, which is Wednesday. I look forward to it. So thank you and have a good evening. Your assessments there can be attempted right away. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.